What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Litecoin today, LTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, you guys. It is the 20th day of September, and here we are at about $114. We got 1 day and 9 hours left in this week. I know it says 10, but it's closer to 9. Shout out to Litecoin Ricky. This video is made in inspiration of you. You said, I enjoy watching your Litecoin videos. Thank you, Ricky. I enjoy your kind words. I was wondering if you noticed or what you think about Litecoin replaying out the same past consolidation pattern as before the last big move, but on a way larger scale than last time in this current time around. Yeah, I see this, man. I see this. I see exactly what you're talking about here. I think that you're onto something. That's some good analysis right there. And what that's called, you guys, for those of you that don't know, is a fractal pattern. Now, fractals can get you in trouble. Oftentimes, they get you in more trouble than they do help you out. But I think you have it mapped out pretty well here. I got similar results, measuring it up to like $6,000. I could see that happening. I could very well see that happening. And I like this. So this video is in inspiration of you, sir. Shout out to Litecoin Ricky. Much love, my man. Use some commas. I had to reread this a couple times. I actually made this video twice because the first time I said it, I was getting all stumbled up. Litecoin Ricky, good with the charts, not good with the commas. I'm messing around there, man. I'm not actually. Who cares? Don't use commas. I don't care. It wouldn't have even messed me up if it wasn't for the fact that I was reading it aloud. Like when I read it in my head, it was fine. But whenever I read it out loud, I got all tripped up. Anyways, who cares? $114 right now. I definitely believe that we could see a move similar to what we saw back here, but with a little bit of a caveat to that, right? If we take this into consideration, that this pattern here with these higher lows and this flat top, right, that it's similar, very similar to what we saw back here. Very, very similar. If we take those wicks out, I'm not drawing it the best, but you can see what I'm going for, right? Not with the scam wicks, but something like this. I would say that yes, we see a move that's very similar to this, but in proportion, no. So the proportion here, right, for how small the pattern is to how big the move is, we're not going to see a move. I mean, I doubt that we see a move that's like the same proportion ratio to this pattern, right? We're not going to move all the way up to $50,000. But, and in that sense, that's where fractals can get you in trouble, right? If you do measurements like that. But I could see, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, I could see this exact kind of move taking place. If we measure, that would take you roughly, I don't think I measured it long enough, but that would take you above $5,000, potentially even above $6,000. And those are target areas that we've identified throughout this cycle. I think that it makes a lot of sense. I think you're onto something with that, definitely. Consolidating the same way. Litecoin's definitely in a healthy phase of consolidation here. I've said it plenty of times that I think that, if you were looking at this chart, if you were a traditional investor, if you had your buddy who's 60 years old, who's been looking at charts for 40 years, and you showed him this chart here, but you didn't tell him it was Litecoin, he'd look at you like you gave him a gift horse. He'd be like, dude, this is awesome. Thank you for telling me about it while it's at the low points. Thank you for telling me about it before it broke out. This is going to be a great play because it really does look healthy, and it really will, I think, move higher. From a high here to a low, the area in question would be about $4,500 to $6,300. I could really see that happening. And it's crazy because what we're talking about here, in case you haven't connected the dots, you guys, is a very similar move to what we saw in 2017. 2017 was an insane cycle. Like, most cryptos are not going to move the same as what they saw back in 2017. But this thing, absolutely, I think we could, similar to that. Now, this pace from that low would mean that we're up there by January. I don't think it'll be January, but maybe April or May, something like that. We could move up there in that kind of amount of time. From this month here, if we start making our move by the end of this month or going into next month, that'd put us in June of 2026. I don't think it'll be June either, but at the same time, from this price here, I don't think we're going to move all the way up to $11,000. I think we could. The highest targets that we have are $13,000 to $15,000, something in that range. The lowest targets that we have are $2,100, but I think right in the middle there, I think smack dab in the middle, that's what we're on to. That makes a lot of sense to me. For those of you who might be having a hard time believing that Litecoin can go that high, it has some of the highest merchant acceptance in the space. It's debatable. I still don't know. Anytime I look this up, it's either it has more merchant acceptance than Ethereum does, or it has just barely less. Like if you look at the hard numbers, it actually has, I think it actually does have more, but do they use it right? Ethereum might have more usage. It depends. Hold on, you guys. Hold on real quick. One second. Hey. my daughter was just coming up, and I didn't want her to get on camera, so I was like, what are you doing here? She was just grabbing something that was right here next to me. Anyway, anyways, looking at this here, I very much do believe that we have a lot of growth to go. And for those of you who are having a hard time looking up the merchant acceptance, just ask Grok or ChatGPT. How many merchants accept Litecoin? How many merchants accept Bitcoin? How many merchants accept Ethereum, right? If you type in what are the top 3 cryptos by merchant acceptance, sometimes Grok gets it wrong. It'll say USDT. And actually, I've done that before. Let's see. Let's try it right now. Let's go to Grok here. Okay. Name the top 3 cryptos by merchant acceptance. Go for it. I think weekends are a good time to talk about the long-term stuff, right? There's not a lot going on the weekends. Typically, the price action is more boring. Here we go. 23.3% of all merchant orders on CoinGate accepted by 20 plus major companies, including Steak and Shake and PubKey, which that's pretty cool too. There's a lot more, not just merchant acceptance, but usage too on Bitcoin than anything else. It says USDC and then Litecoin, right? USDC. So USDC definitely not. USDT is above USDC, and Ethereum I'm pretty sure is above both of those. But Litecoin is above both of those as well. So the fact that it gets it wrong, and sometimes if you keep asking, I'll say run the numbers again, run it again, and see if that's if you get the same. I would bet that he gets different results, or Grok. I don't know if Grok's a he. I bet that Grok gets different results, right? I've come to decide that I need to stop making political posts on X.com. Bitcoin, yeah. Oh, nope, he found the same ones. Okay, cool, yep. If you guys want to follow me on X.com, by the way, my profile is @ChrisHarris85. Okay? There's no other C-Zars on X.com that are me other than this one, @ChrisHarris85. Okay? That right there, that's me. That's the one, right? Anyways, I probably need to update a couple of different things so that so it might be easier to find me. Anyways, Litecoin here, looking like we do want to move up higher. I think that we've got a dramatic uptick to go, and I don't think that we have too much time to do it. I think we're gonna start to show life here by the end of this month, and then going into the end of the year, especially by the end of this year, you guys, Litecoin should very well be at new all-time highs. If we're not at new all-time highs by the end of the year, we're gonna have to do some rethinking here. Okay, that doesn't mean that we're bearish on Litecoin. That just means we're less bullish on it. Okay. I very much do expect that we'll break out of this range overall to the upside. And if we're looking at this on a monthly time frame here, the RSI is in a very bullish posturing. Okay, absolutely dominant bullish posturing. We love these long-term uptrends. Okay, higher lows, higher highs, getting into the overbought zone, getting deeper into the overbought zone. Ideally, maybe you'll have 1 or 2 more attempts into the overbought zone here. We'll see. You know, here you had 2 peaks. Here you had 1 peak, 2 peaks there. Maybe what you'll get is you'll get into the overbought zone by the end of this year, and then going into 2026, like May or April, you'll find a lower high and get that bearish divergence to mark off the cycle top there. And that. I think we're going to get that right. Two peaks here, 1 peak, 2 peaks there. That second peak both times. Let's see. That was like the beginning of your bear market. Maybe not. That was the beginning of your bear market here. The second peak here was the beginning of your bear market. For Bitcoin, the second peak typically begins the bear market. But I think last cycle was a bit odd. Last cycle was a bit weak. We should have continued to rally, but we didn't. This cycle, I think we will. I really am looking for that 1 peak, 2 peak. On the second peak, we'll have our cycle top, okay? So regardless of where the price is by the end of the cycle, I think we'll have the indicators to tell us. But as of now, being that we're nowhere near the cycle end, both in time and in price, it's important to kind of consider all areas, right? And again, those areas are derived from these Fibonacci extensions and even this measurement of this move that we saw in the past, okay? Maybe even from the indicators here, the stochastics are about to get overbought, the RSI is about to get overbought, the MACD has crossed above the 0 for the first time this whole cycle, right? We've been consolidating in this area. We've been accumulating in this zone since 2022. The middle of 2022, it's been like over 3 years now, and we are finally crossed above the 0 since the beginning of this year. We are also, if we're looking at this here, instead of rejecting, you're consolidating here around this area, right? So you are, I mean, you had a little bit of a rejection, but really you've just been kind of consolidating. It's a bit different of a reaction. than what we saw the other two times, it would make me think that we're going to get a different reaction out of this, and that we're soon to break out of this overall accumulative zone here. But again, the all-time high areas that we derive come from these Fibonacci extensions, along with everything else that we've paired up. $2,100 to $14,000, $15,000, something in that range. We go a little bit above the 2272 because typically you do wick a little bit above it. So 15K could be where you go. However, realistically speaking, that would imply that you see the most bullish move of your life, Litecoin. And you could. The only thing that's allowing for that to happen, in my opinion, is the fact that Litecoin is largely undervalued. It does have some of it. It might have the second highest merchant acceptance in the space, right? We have Grok here saying this. It's like, okay, how many merchants accept USDC and USDT? Let's see. I should have asked that in two parts because hopefully he doesn't add them together, because that's not what I want. Come on, Grocky Poo Poo. I'm going to ask, how many merchants accept LTC? Because he'll say this. He'll say that USDC is above Litecoin, but then whenever you ask, LTC, is he broken? Did I break you, Grok? We broke the code. Okay, here we go. So USDC, 1,000 to 1,200. Up to 100 million via cards and gateways. Okay, yeah, but that's anybody, right? 1,800 to 1,900, right? Direct, similar. So USDT actually has more, right, than USDC. He's just put up here saying USDC because online that he's flooded with more information about USDC than USDT. Is not perfect. And then if you say, what about LTC? Remember, 1,000 to 1,200, 1,800 to 1,900 on USDT. You ask about Litecoin, he'll tell you 1,400. I swear it was 4,000. This is different than what we. Let me see here. Hold on. How many merchants accept? Maybe I'm just remembering wrong. LTC. Litecoin. Even still, that's a lot. 4,000 plus companies. That's what I thought, yeah. Let's ask this AI. Let's ask Gemini here. $2,800 merchants. Other sources estimate around 10,000. I thought it was 4,000 for the longest time. From the sources that I've read for like over the past year, it's been like 4,000 or more. So anyways, at any rate, 10,000, 2,800, both of those numbers, that's more than what Grok's telling us. And I bet if I had him run the numbers again, I'd do that. But I want to move on from this. I don't want to keep talking about it. All in all, you guys, very bullish on Litecoin. I don't believe that we're going to 14,000 to 15,000. That's where I got sidetracked, right? And the only reason why we accepted it all as a possibility is because, for one, you do have a massive consolidation phase. If you were to see a bigger move than what you saw here, a larger move than what you saw here, okay, it could happen, but it would have to happen. It'd have to be a larger move, and it would have to happen in less time than what this one took, because I doubt that the cycle continues into June. It could. We've got reasons to believe that it could continue into June or even July, but I would think May or April is a more likely target end for the cycle as far as time goes. And in that time, I just don't see Litecoin going all the way up here. But it could happen. I mean, what would that be? That'd be over 100x. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it'd be crazy. Very high market caps you're working with there. It'd be crazy. I think that 2,000 by the end of the cycle. I think that 6,300 by the end of the cycle. Those are much more adequate targets. And again, that's more comparable to what we saw before. The only difference is a movement like this here versus a movement like this back here. Lower market cap, much higher market cap, right? It might make sense that we go here. I don't think that we go too much higher. But the only way that I would see that we go higher than this is because, again, we've had a long phase of accumulation. Litecoin is undervalued, it's overlooked, and typically those are the best coins to kind of invest in. So it is possible that it could happen, but I would lean more to that $2,100 to $6,300 level. We'll know more by the end of this year as the cycle continues. I'll definitely hold your guys' hand. I'll let you know what I'm thinking about the cycle ending tops for Litecoin as we get there. All in all, we're in a very bullish posturing. I think you are literally on the edge of breaking out of this phase. You've got this massive accumulative phase here since 2022, and you're about to break out and see the largest move that you've seen really since 2017. Okay. I don't have anything else I don't want to say. I hear my daughter crying, so I'm going to go take care of her. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves.